host Osa. Today we're going to do another reaction video. This time from Adina Rivers, right? So this is a pretty popular YouTube personality that's really for her main content's really for on the sexual side of things. So stuff about sex, how to feel more sensual, sexual, positions, and the whole nine yards, right? So we're going to react to her video called "My Life Is a Mess." All right, so like before in the last video, I'll stop from certain time spots in the video and kind of give you my thoughts on what's going on what's going on within the video and how I see it from my point of view and whatnot. All right, so let's see the video.
I need a moment. My heart is beating so fast right now. OMG, guys. This is gonna be crazy. I don't even know where to begin. Oh my gosh.
She could start. I'm playing. No, I'll let her continue. Let me stop playing. I'll let her continue.
You guys know me, I'm quite emotional. I will try not to cry, but if I cry, please excuse me, forgive me. It's just all been very emotional and very intense the last couple of weeks. And I decided that I do want to make a video about everything that has happened in the last couple of weeks because you guys really matter so much to me. And I don't know each one of you personally, but for some odd reason it feels to me like having a friendship with you, even though I don't know you personally. But for me, my intention of doing these YouTube videos, my YouTube channel, was always to be authentic and real and not to fake anything. And you know what, guys? It's harder than it seems because I never expected anyways that there would be so many people watching my videos, watching my journey, being interested in who I am. I was always more of an introvert emotionally. I was always more shy. Maybe you guys have watched my Draw My Life video, then you know about my past. And so it's been a huge journey for me anyways to be so much in front of the camera, and my voice is kind of shivering. But I felt like if I continue to make YouTube videos, I have to fill you guys in on where I stand and what's truly happening in my life, because I'm talking about love, I'm talking about relationships, I'm talking about sex, and yet here I am, and my love life is at times such a mess. It's beautiful, it's alive, but it is such a freaking mess sometimes. And especially the last weeks have been really, really, really intense for me. And I felt very alone also in many regards. Not that I don't have people to talk to, but because the decision that I have to take is a decision that only I can take, no matter what what kind of advice anybody else is going to give me, but I still have to take a decision for myself. So that's why it's been very intense for me. And oh my gosh. Yeah, and so I have been at crossroads whether I should share this journey or not, because it's so private, it's so personal, it's so intense. There's so much that you guys out there could judge about me, and now I could say I don't give a shit, but I'm a human being. I'm affected by other people, right? We all are affected by the closest people.
All right, so obviously she still hasn't really, gotten into the reason of why, into her video, why it's named "My Life Is a Mess." But from my from my conclusion, whenever people are kind of like, really dragging the intro, not really getting into the story, it's obviously to the point of trying to paint themselves into a certain light, certain picture. This is just my personal opinion about it. It's not anyone else or anything like that. I probably would think that whatever the hell she's about to talk about, she is completely 100% at fault. Whatever the hell she did that shit. She definitely did that shit. Let's continue.
And not just the closest people, but everybody around us affects us and our emotions and our well-being. So it means a lot to share this with you guys. And the reason that I'm doing it is because I so believe in authenticity, realness, and I believe that this is something we need more of in this world right now. I feel really not enough people who truthfully share of what is going on inside their hearts, inside their lives. And that is so because so many people fear of what other people are going to say about them. And for me, I'm such a warrior, I'm such a fighter. I'm always striving for growth and to become a better person. So I feel like this is a really necessary step for me to do. And when I'm gonna tell you the whole story, you might think, oh my gosh, Adina, what the fuck? But I just ask you guys, please have an open mind. Try to observe yourselves and try to not judge, because in this world it's really hard to say what is right or what is wrong. We all have individual journeys, and you know how it feels to you when there's really some heavy shit going on in your life. Sometimes we mess things up. Sometimes other people in our lives mess things up. I personally have felt the best way to endure such moments and such situations is to be not judgmental with ourselves and not judgmental with other people.
That's a great point. To an extent. So, I think in terms of like what you have done, in terms of like, maybe some of the decisions you've made or some of the choices you decided to choose from one thing or another, whatever the outcome is, you shouldn't necessarily judge yourself too harshly. I think that's very important. But another important key thing that you should also have is also accountability as well. I think those two go hand in hand. So you being able to not judge yourself so harshly about the choices and the decisions that you made in your life to get to where you are right now, at the same time also being accountable to know that you did make those decisions, that this is why you are here. That was on you and you only. So I think having those 2 points really cleared up, I think is very important. Not anyone can make you. I mean, people could sway you to one way or another. That is true, if you let it, of course. But at the end of the day, you are responsible for any choice that you made, regardless of if the outcome was good or bad, or regardless of whoever that outcome affected. That's on you. Only you. All right, let's continue.
As little as possible. We still have a lot of ego, and so we still are very judgmental, but we can at least try our best, and in that we become more general, we become more soft with ourselves and with others, and I think it's so helpful. So, I'm talking a lot, and I still haven't told you anything about what's happening currently. Okay guys, where do I begin? Okay, so you guys know that I am in a relationship with Oliver since I think 17 years. It's been a long time. And it's been a wild journey anyways already, because I'm a wild spirit. I'm free-spirited. I'm always seeking new adventures. For me, once I have experienced one thing, I right away immediately want to experience something new. That's just how I am. I've never been the type of the mother kind of person, who's always at home. I'm not a homebody at all. I'm always out. I always need to explore. That's just who I am. And Oliver is very different from me. Yet, there's always reasons why people attract each other. And I really, 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 really adore this man so much. He has brought so much freaking goodness into my life.
Uh-oh. But nah, so she said some interesting stuff. Her being a free spirit, which is fine. But before I even get into whatever I want to say, let me preface this by saying, like, everybody's an individual. Everyone can, have choices that they want to make. That everyone's individual. Everyone has choices that they make. Yada yada yada, whatever. But as a man, because I'm gonna speak as a man, right? I'm the only person who's a man. I think it's important for us to know who we're getting ourselves with, right? I think that's extremely important because, sure, we can try out stuff here and there. Hey, I want to experience this with this person, or I want to experience that with another, which is cool, whatnot. But I think for us men, we should really raise the standards of who we decide to have on our side as labeled as a girlfriend. Like, she's been in the race for 17 years. 17 years is a long time. That's a long, long time. That's a lot. That's a lot to, like, be together, and it's a lot to be together, and a lot about each other at that time too. I mean, 17 years is like, that's longer than a good amount of marriages just to be in a relationship, And I'm never going to be the one to tell any man to be like, hey, yo, there's a time limit in which you should marry your girlfriend, and once it's past a certain threshold, like, no, never at all. Like, if you as a man don't feel like it's right to marry that person at the moment, at year 25, like, then so be it. If you feel like she should still be around you at that time, but you don't feel like she's worth putting a ring on it at year 25, then yes, then you're absolutely correct. If she doesn't want to be there, then she doesn't want to, then let her go. Like, hey, that's all on you. But at the same time, it's also important to know who you are. It's also important to know what type of person you are bringing into your life, and who they are as a person, who they are, what their goals are, what they're trying to accomplish. That factor all that in and see if that's a good fit for you. Which I'm gonna, that's gonna be a theme here in this channel. More always talking about fit with between a man. Whenever you get in a relationship between a man and a woman, it's all about fit at the end of the day, and that's really important to have when you're dealing with a significant other. So, like, as a man, I'm not judging men on how long they want to take as much time as you need. I think especially now, when with the divorce rates up as high as they are, that's like, looking at you coming up for guys that are in their 20s or in like mid to late 20s, early 30s. You see that shit, you're like, shit, and the divorce rates are up. Most of the women are initiating the divorces to begin with, so I can understand as a guy why trying to find somebody to marry, it might not be the greatest thing for you, because if that divorce happens and you're the one majority of the time the man's going to be the one making the money, you're losing half your assets, half your money that you worked hard for, all the stuff that you've worked hard to gain as equity, all gone, cut in half, given to her. So, in order to protect your assets and not lose anything, I completely understand it. So that's why I'm always going to be very aware of that. There's lots of men, not even like a small amount. There's a lot of men are not looking to get married at all. Like, they're like, what, fuck it. Like, I'll just be like, I'll have a relationship. That's cool. We don't have to have the courts or the government in it. That's fine. If we don't work out, we don't work out. So it's what it is. And I understand it. I completely understand it. So, I mean, but again, at the end of the day, it's all about fit. Does that person that you're bringing in fit what you're trying to fit that person in your life for? Person share the same beliefs that you share. does that person, can you see that person with you for the rest part of your life, right? And that's if you're looking to get married. Can you see that person for the rest part of your life? And you have to put that, you can't just say, oh, she's cool now, but thoroughly vet each other, thoroughly make sure that you and her are a good fit past 10, 20, 30, 40 years. That's something you have to account for. And I mean, there's ways to do it, but you just have to do your due diligence. That's all. All right. Let's continue.
Basically grew up with him. I was 21 when I met him, and it's been a freaking long journey together. And in this world right now, there's not many people, I don't meet many people who spend such a long time with someone since they are young, especially in our generation, I mean, and there's nothing to judge about that. It's just, it's okay to have short-term relationships, longer relationships. There's no judgment. I don't say that people have to stay a long time together to have beautiful relationships. It's just that's what we chose. So we really have been together since 17 years. We walked together this life, been through the highs and lows, had 2 abortions, we had 1 abortion. Another abortion I did before that because I just was freaking way too young. I would not have been mentally capable of taking care of a child. And we have a son together, and yeah, we have been through a lot together already. I basically spent more time with Oliver than I spent at home with my mom and my dad. Yeah, and so it's been a long journey together. We have experienced a lot. We have gone already through a lot of drama together. He with me probably more, because I always wanted so much adventures and experienced so many things. But it intensified even more in the last 4 years, I would say, because 4 years ago I got to know another man, and I felt drawn towards this man. And about 4 years ago I started a relationship with him, and it was very intense.
NANI?
Oh boy. Shit. It's like they do everything but leave, right? It's freaking crazy. If you're not happy with your relationship, leave. My gosh, no one's not holding you to stay there. I know. All right, cool. So I know you had said 4 years ago, right? So 17. So this video came out this year, right? So 4 years ago is about 13 years into the relationship, right? So then you meet another guy and you start a relationship with that guy while still being in a relationship with the other guy that you've been with for 13 years, right? So I understand that there's a lot of time that's been in there, right? 13 years is a long time. It's extremely long. And, at some point, one of the reasons why, and at some point, you want to kind of move into some new avenues or new challenges, right, in your relationship. So this is why this is kind of there's kind of 2 fronts here, right? The first front I'm going to talk about is the time that they had within the relationship. So 13 years in a relationship since they were young, obviously is a long time. And not really, having had kids that they that have abortions or whatnot, a whole bunch of stuff that's happened. At some point, from the woman's perspective, I can understand that you would want to. Let me go back a little bit. I can understand that you would want to have some sort of what's the best way to put it? Recognition, all right? For the lack of a better word, some sort of recognition or some sort of title, right? So I was trying to avoid not using the word title, but some sort of title, like a ring, right? So like a ring. So some sort of way, if we want to be honest, that's basically what you would probably be looking for if you're going to stay in a relationship for this long amount of time. You'll be looking for some sort of ring to validate the amount of time that you spend together. So from the woman's perspective, I understand that. Hey, it's been so long. I've been, loyal. I haven't faltered. I haven't wavered about that. And I want to see some sort of commitment, right? Some sort of some sort of strong commitment from you that, hey, what I have done for you is, worth it, right? I can see that. I can understand that. And but also at the same time, if 13 years is also a long time to know what type of partner you are. This comes back to the whole fit argument here. So 13 years is a long time to know what kind of partner that you're with, and if you knew that he's the type of person to really, maybe really take his time, even after all these years, he still hasn't necessarily, wanted to take it to that next stage, but he's still being consistent. He still, loves. He hasn't, done any type of different, anything that suggested that he wanted to find somebody else or be with someone else. If you knew that already, then why do what you did, right? So there's that too. All right. Again, as for him, I did mention about from the guy angle already. I'm never going to judge any guy to not, take as long as he needs to take in order to be sure about what he wants to make a decision on whether or not to put a ring on a woman's finger, because that decision is extremely important. Extremely, like literally, your like half of your life's worth depends on that decision of whether or not who you going to decide who you going to decide to put a ring on and decide to have as your wife. That is an important fucking decision that should not be taken lightly whatsoever. And however long time you need to take it. But then at the same time, for 13 years, you decided to keep this person in your girlfriend, as a girlfriend, under the title as a girlfriend, right? So, I mean, hey, if that's something you have discussed with her, that, hey, I'm not really believing in marriage, I just, I don't want to, have the government my fault, government's right, have the government in our relationship. I think we're cool enough to be in this long-term relationship without having any type of paperwork to sign or whatnot, and it's fine, and we're good. So that's the conversation. If you had that with her, then that's cool. That's whatever, done deal. There's no other talking points there. The thing now becomes like if the illusion or the illusion really, if the illusion or the assumption was that, hey, you be my girl, right? You stay true, stay loyal, and at some point in time you get a ring. To 13 years is a long time to vet somebody. I'm not gonna lie, 13 years is a very long time. Not judging you on it, but it's a very long time to vet somebody. And if you do not know by year 13, maybe, you should consider other options. Hey, it is what it is. Because year 13, there's how much how much layers can you still peel off of a person to really truly be comfortable with having to put a ring on someone, if that is something you have alluded to or made the promise of, basically, to put a ring on, right? So I think that's a long time on that end. The second thing I'm gonna say here is the exposure. So there's the other front, right? The other front is the exposure. Now a lot of relationships that I've been aware of, a lot of them always talked about one of the biggest things that kind of helped them was being kind of low key on social media, right? Social media is a big thing. It's been a big part of our life for how many years now, and having to keep their relationship private was really, really important for some of the relationships that I'm aware of, because, hey, our business is not outside, not everyone needs to know their business. They can keep it in-house and have it settled in-house, because, to be quite honest with you, people don't really know the situation. Heck, even if you're like best friends with that person or even close to that person, they still will understand the situation that your relationship is in. The only people that know what type of relationship that you have is the two parties that are in that relationship to begin with, right? So it makes sense. Another thing that's also been I've kind of been seeing some patterns with and I think this one in particular is pretty huge, is the fact of how exposed somebody is on social media when they're in a committed relationship. So case in point, we'll use her. This is an attractive lady. She's probably in her, like, what's this? She said she met this guy 21, 17 years in. So she's probably 38, right? She's still extremely attractive. Like, there's not a lot of 38-year-olds out there. Let's keep it 100. Like, not a lot of 38-year-olds out there who's looking like her. But and that's the thing, right? With her looking the way she is, her having the type of YouTube channel that she has, which is about relationships and sex, and her being out there like that can bring in some unwarranted attention. And this is what a lot of guys from the end. This is from the man's end point of view, right? This is what a lot of guys try to complain about, right? Is exposure. How exposed are you to the world at large? Like, hey, you're putting out all these types of videos, or these sexual videos. You're putting out bikini photos, half naked photos on the gram. You got the OnlyFans going on. You got all these platforms that you are basically exposing yourself to the world. And we know how guys are visual creatures. They're gonna see that, and you can try to go ahead and see if they can get to you, basically, right? If they can get a piece of that, right? So this is not about this is not about trying to stop people from being empowered or anything like that. No, but for intensive life, you want to be in a committed relationship. Like, exposure is a huge thing. To be exposed like that on social media, you're asking for a lot of attention. And as soon as that attention starts coming in, it's going to keep hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting. It's like water hitting concrete. It might not crack, immediately, but at some point it will. And once it cracks, you're not gonna be aware. It's gonna be unexpected, and boom, you're in a situation now where you weren't, you didn't expect to be in. You didn't. Wasn't planning on doing. You did. By all means, I'll even take her sincerity. Like, hey, this is, and she's probably gonna say this a little bit later, that it wasn't something she planned on. Like, this just happened out of the blue. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily happening out of the blue. This was already kind of being festered in years prior, with you being exposed on social media as you with the topics that you talk about on YouTube. This was already being slowly gathering steam, slowly until the stars aligned, and you're not on good terms with your man now, and now you're like, oh wait, there's this great guy that quote unquote is interested in me, but he probably saw you on Instagram and it's like, oh shit, I gotta take my chance. You know what I mean? And he did, and he successfully got it. So he said, obviously, successfully got it with her, since she started a relationship with him while she was still in a relationship with the other man, right? So I mean, that's a huge thing, and why I could understand why guys would want to not have their significant other, right? So why to have their significant other exposed like that on social media, because that just brings in a lot of unwarranted attention. And even though your girl might be the greatest girl, it's like, no, I don't give a fuck, hey, they're in my DMs, they ain't nothing, I mean, it's like I said, I put the water analogy. Water does crack concrete. It might not crack it right away, but in due time, when the water keeps hitting the same spot over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, it's going to crack. It's going to crack. And when it cracks, it's going to be unexpected. You're not going to see it coming. All right. There's still a lot more. Obviously, it took her almost 10 minutes to kind of get into what she wanted to say. This video is kind of long, so I'm gonna stop it here. I'm gonna do part 2 in a little bit later. In a little bit, I'm gonna do part 2 in another date and time. Thank you for watching again. Please like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. Tell me your thoughts about the video, all right? What do you think about it? So, what do you think about her so far? If you want to see the full video, I'll leave the link in the description. And thanks for watching, all right? I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. 4 a.m. We're out of bed with the color-coded skies. Seem like always with this battle royal vibes. She rises up.
With that warm, bright smile of hers, felt like one of those days, like I'm the motherfucking treasurer, like The Rock.